Who doesn't love a good thrift store find? There's nothing like the thrill of finding exactly what you want for a fraction of the price. But for this man, picking up this innocuous green jacket proved how valuable thrift store finds can really be. The jacket was beautifully constructed. While most clothes in the shop were old and dusty, this one was especially well preserved, and given how much it was going for, it was clearly a steal. He was glad to have found the jacket itself, but he certainly didn't expect to change his life. Roger loved thrift stores. Whenever he had time, he would head to his favorite thrift store haunts and search for something. He didn't exactly know what he would find, but he looked forward to the excitement of finding something new. When he saw this particular jacket, he knew it was something special, and he knew he had to have it. He came to inspect it closer and noticed that there were no signs of wear. The fabric felt soft and crisp in between his fingers, and as luck would have it, it looks like it's in his size. He carefully checked the inside to see the labels. Nothing strange, but maybe it was a custom-made piece. He fished through the pockets instead. Nothing strange or out of place there either. What he did notice, however, was the jacket was well constructed from the inside out. While he was curious about the provenance of such a beautiful piece of clothing, he was more worried about someone else finding it and purchasing his prize find. He quickly headed to the checkout counter to complete his purchase. This could either be a rare designer find or simply a beautifully constructed piece. Either way, he thought, this was a win-win situation. Roger knew that if he could prove his suspicion, he was sitting on a gold mine, which could be helpful in the future. What he couldn't figure out, though, was how did the jacket end up in the thrift store among all the other pieces of old clothing? To someone without a keen eye, they would think that Roger overpaid for the jacket, considering that it didn't look anything like a sane person's piece of clothing. Nevertheless, he knew what he had on his hands and didn't hesitate to pay $50 for it. But anywhere else, the coat would have cost him even more. He continued to inspect the jacket and did so with even more care. Then he noticed that the inside pocket actually had a small tag. This cold be it. This could prove that he had an incredible piece of clothing in his hands. When he handed his $50 for a jacket in a store that basically owned everything for $1, he got a lot of stares. Curious onlookers wondered how much he loved that jacket. A few people gave him a strange look, wondering what he was doing, but he knew he was making the right choice. Still, Roger was convinced that he had the right item, and if it was what he thought the jacket was, he had more questions than answers. How did it find its way to the store? He would use all the information he could find to ensure he had the correct item in his hands. Whether he scoured the internet or read magazines and newspapers, he was down for it all. If the tag were there, it would make his work easy, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. He did, after all, check all the pockets and found nothing. This made it even more difficult, as he wondered, where do I go from here? But when it seemed like all hope was lost, something caught his eye, and he was back on the puzzle-solving track again. The only thing he could pick from the jacket that could help him identify its origin were the letters G and A. That was all. In all honesty, it wasn't much to go along with, but he was determined to decipher the initials. What did they stand for? Are they a part of someone's name? Or are they a part of the designer's name or maybe an organization? While the info was minimal, he was determined to find out the origin of the garment. When Roger saw the jacket, he knew it was important, and he confirmed it was a Masters Augusta National Golf Club jacket. The garment was one of the rarest pieces of clothing, especially in sports, as it was only awarded to athlete members who'd won the Masters Golf Tournament. This jacket belonged only to elite members of the golfing community, and not many people had access to the club's wardrobe. How is it that it was lying in a thrift store? The golf club has some strange jacket rules that even the winners who were awarded the coat weren't allowed to wear it outside the club for more than a year. With this information, it only made sense that the owner ripped away their name on the label, leaving Roger with a mystery to solve. As an avid golf fan, he had always been fascinated by the weird golf club and its cultist procedures, so he was in for a ride. He wanted to find everything he could about the jacket and how it found its way to the thrift store. The golf club has an elite membership, and its rules are pretty unorthodox by any standards. All members are given a jacket once they join, but the kicker is that they aren't allowed to take them out of the club's premises. While that seems strange, it was a rule that members strictly adhered to. The rule also applied to the winners of the Masters green jacket, with the only exception being that the jackets may only be removed from the grounds within the first year after they're awarded. If you choose to keep any Augusta jacket for yourself in your home closet, you'll be banned from the club. Yet, this isn't the only regulation the members have to follow. Once you join the club, access to non-members is also limited. And doing so will lead to pretty harsh consequences. As if that's not enough, you cannot apply to be a member of the Augusta Club. They handpick the people they want to be part of their group, and outside the institution, no one really knows the number of members it has. The organization is shrouded in mystery, making it difficult to know anything that goes on within the grounds. Still, Roger is determined to find the answers he seeks. Knowing that he had something from the puzzling Augusta Golf Club, he reached out to a few friends and golf specialists to help him unravel the jacket mystery. Everyone Roger asked for help or information was stunned by his find, and they wanted to buy the jacket from him. Tempted, he thought about selling it. While some of these specialists offered to pay top dollar for the jacket, he knew it was more valuable than what they wanted to give him. Also, adding to the fact that he hadn't solved the puzzle surrounding its presence in a thrift store, he was a bit skeptical about letting it go. As such, he politely declined all the offers, and considering that he was a massive golf fan, having the coat in his possession was unimaginable. Yet the golf item collectors wouldn't let him be. Despite making it categorically clear to everyone that the jacket was not for sale, many people still called to find out if he had changed his mind. This went on for a couple of years, and the answer was always the same: no. After a lot of back and forth with himself, he decided that while the sentimental value of the jacket was incomparable, what he was dealing with at the time was more important. He picked up the phone and said he would put the coat for auction soon, and anyone interested in purchasing it could make a bid to purchase it. Once the game's fanatics found out the rare jacket was for sale, many thronged to the auction to land themselves the clothing. One buyer, a UK golf journalist, was so confident that he would go home with the coat. When the auction kicked off, Roger didn't know more surprises were waiting for him. The auctioneer announced an opening bid of $5,000, which was more than anything he'd thought about. That is well over the $50 investment he made on it. And if this were the only bid to come his way, he would have made a handsome profit from his thrift store endeavor. Yet, he was curious to know how far the bidding could go. Different people put up their bids as the auction went on, with the figure steadily rising. In the end, the UK golf journalist hit a birdie with his bid, emerging victorious. Guess what he paid for the jacket? $139,349. That is more than anyone would have thought the jacket would fetch, but Roger wasn't complaining. He had just made an astonishing profit on something he had spent only $5 on, and was about to take care of all the financial problems he was facing. With the insane amount the journalist paid for the coat, many people were left wondering, was the purchase really worth it? Why spend so much on a green jacket, regardless of how rare it is? Still, everyone in the auction house congratulated the buyer, and Roger felt like a huge load had been taken off his shoulders. His instinct was right, and he was grateful that he found someone who really appreciated the garment. That's all that mattered to him.